Biggest things with stainless is don't contaminate it with something that's not stainless, and don't overheat it.
That weld is too big. I stayed on it too long.
The final stage. Let's see if we can get this sucker to shine. And one thing I haven't talked about yet is my welder settings. Oh, I must have broke the circuit. Okay, it's looking like this is gonna be the last weld, and this looks like my microphone. What's going on?
Hello sailors, my name's Andy and this is my wife Misty. A few years ago we bought an old neglected sailboat for $3,500 and I've been working on it ever since. I literally learned how to sail on YouTube, but later we both took some lessons. I used to think that sailing was only for rich people. It's not. I used to also think that you had to sail around the world to have fun. You don't. Click subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and join us, and we'll show you how much fun you can have coastal cruising on a cheap sailboat. Welcome to Sailing Soleil.
Hello, welcome to Sailing Soleil. My name's Andy, and this is my Catalina 30, 1978. And in this episode, I wanted to show you how I made my bow roller. I did some stainless steel welding on it. I fabricated it myself, and I did it specifically for this Mantis anchor that I have. I've got a 45-pound Mantis, and I fabricated the bow roller, and I polished it and all that stuff. So keep in mind that I filmed that project of fabricating the bow roller about 2 years ago. I've got a bunch of project videos that I never put out, and let me know in the comments if you like that kind of stuff, the DIY, or if you like the adventure. I'd appreciate to know what you guys like to watch. Anyways, also keep in mind I got a bunch of videos, so at the end of the video and in the description there's a link to watch the rest of my videos if you're interested. But anyways, let's get into seeing how I built this bow roller. We're back. All right, so I haven't really been documenting very much of this, but I've been making a bow roller for the new Mantis anchor, and the first version was to here, and it wasn't enough. It needs to come out a few more inches so that it could go to here. So what I'm doing is I extended it from here out. I'm probably gonna have to cut this off. It's just tacked anyways. To separate it, I think it'll be a little easier to work on it as two separate pieces. But you can see where it's going.
Before I get too far into this project, I need to let you know that I'm welding 316 stainless steel, not 304, and I'm using 316L MIG welding wire with a tri-mix on my shielding gas.
Okay, so I just cut this off. I just cut this off. It was here, and now I'm gonna grind down these little spots. So if you've never worked with stainless, then you need to know that like you can't mix your abrasives, like your grinding wheels, your flap discs, whatever. If you're grinding carbon steel or anything else, it's got to stay stainless. So these abrasives that I use for stainless, I just use them on stainless only. I don't use them with my other tools, and I keep them separate, because what happens is it has bits of the carbon steel in this abrasive, and then when you go on this, you're contaminating the stainless with carbon steel, and you'll get some rust. So I'll try to throw in a couple little tips here and there, but biggest things with stainless is don't contaminate it with something that's not stainless, and don't overheat it. If you overheat it to where it gets gray, or it gets really discolored, or it's glowing red when you're welding it or grinding it or whatever, you've almost baked out the stainless part of it. Notice that I didn't curve the edges. I still want those edges to have hard edges. I just wanted to get the top and get the burrs off from the previous weld. That's all. All right, so let's do a weld. We're gonna finish this full pin right here and go across. And I'll tell you a couple little tiny things I know about. I don't know a lot about stainless. I'm by far a newbie. Let's just say I'm a newbie. I'm not an authority. But when you weld stainless, it warps. It tries to draw in on the heat. So you've really got to clamp it down and try to keep the heat down as much as you can. So let's do a little MIG weld. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little tack here and a little tack here, and hopefully that will kind of strengthen it so that it doesn't want to bend up when I finish the weld. A lot of color on that. That weld is too big. I stayed on it too long. I'll have to grind all that off. And then as you can see right here, I missed. So I gotta fill that in right now. And that sure is a lot of weld. It's a little gray too, so I feel like I might be heating it too much. But since I'm gonna grind most of that off, I'm hoping that underneath it is gonna be just all right. Now let's sand it. First we grind it off the excess, and now we're gonna sand it. What I found with sanding and grinding and stuff is you gotta be careful about trying to make it look perfect, because then by the time it looks perfect, you've gone down too far and you've kind of cut out too much. Because you're always gonna do something else on top of it to make it look better. So leave a little extra to take off when you get to a finer grit pad or whatever. What I did to make sure that this is straight is I used this other piece of stainless and I lined it up and clamped them. Oh, look at that, I got a little off. So I need to fix that. Now there's no rock. Now I've got a straight edge. Same thing, tack, tack, give it a little strength, and then I'll fill it in. My angle was wrong. I need to learn more about stainless. I'm not sure if that's too gray or if that's okay. I can see I need to fill in just a tiny little spot right there. I'm feeling like that's too much color, like brown. So this is huge. I got to get rid of all this. It's gigantic on top of it. All right, this one is a 40 grit flap disc. It's not perfect. I don't want to grind too much off. It's slightly warped. I don't know if you can see that, but it's slightly kicked over this way. So we're gonna have to take care of that. That is not gonna do it. There we go. Nice and straight. Now we'll weld the other side. It will complete me. Same thing, tack, tack, weld. No, tack, tack, weld. But this time I turned up my coverage, my shielding gas. So let's see if we could do it without making our weld so big. Okay. All right, anyways, I'm gonna burnish this with this crazy tool. It's a burnisher. And you could change out the pads for you know, different grits. Look at that. Not sure if you can see that, but you see all these scratches. It's from all the grinding and everything. And all those scratches are gone. All right, so now I'm trying to polish this. I don't usually polish stainless because it seems like it's pretty hard to polish because the metal's so hard. But I've switched from this 40 grit flap wheel to, I don't know what grit this is, but it's basically a Scotch-Brite.
You didn't eat that sandwich. I'm eating it.
Ooh-wee. We're getting there. Doing pretty good. Anyways, I'm trading this grit, whatever it is, for a 320 grit. And then after the 320 grit, I'm gonna go with the polisher with some polishing wax, polishing 320. Let's see what it does. Man, it is starting to shine up pretty nice. It's starting to look pretty good. It's not mirror, that's for sure. And now we are on to the final stage. Let's see if we can get this sucker to shine. All right, here we go. All right, so I've got this Camel grinding wheels buffing compound.
I had never polished stainless before I built this bow roller, and what I learned is that you really want to make your first low grits, like your 40 grit, 60 grit, you want to make sure that you get all the scratches out and move up slower than I did, because at the end I still could see the scratches in the stainless from the 40 grit even though it was shiny. So you got to get those scratches out before you make it shiny.
All right, so I didn't get a mirror finish, but I did learn quite a bit on that. So what it seems like is you could still see, I have to use my gloves because it's hot. You can still see the little marks from the higher grain, or lower grain I should say, sanding.
What I'm doing with that piece of steel is I'm trying to block the spatter from getting on the stainless that I just polished. It also acts as a small chill bar.
All right, so I'm back at the bow roller. We have a couple more holes to drill so that I could mount this on there. I'm gonna keep the option of using the chain stop, but I'm mostly gonna be using the pin to go through the fluke to hold on the anchor. We're drilling 2 holes for this. All right, so we are at the final stage of the bow roller. I've got it all clamped up here, getting ready to weld it out. As you can see here, I just have it tacked. So one more tip for you when welding or working with stainless is, as I mentioned before, the heat is what messes it up, makes it either not stainless anymore or makes it warp. If you heat it up too much, it'll warp, and then you'll pull it out and it'll have a curve to it or something, and that's obviously not what you want. So get a piece of aluminum and put it on there where you're going to weld. I'm going to weld right here first, and this aluminum will help draw the heat out of the stainless. So this is called a chill bar, so it helps chill the stainless as I weld it. So I'll have to move this as I go along. And one thing I haven't talked about yet is my welder settings: 20.1 volts, 261 wire feed speed, shielding gas. I'm almost at 30 CFH, so that's quite a lot of gas for the coverage, but it's what you need. You know, you'd rather have more coverage than not enough coverage. So last time, 20.1 volts, 262 wire feed speed, and about 28 to 30 on my CFH. Okay, let's do a weld.
I'm letting these welds run in real time because I want you to hear how it sounds. It's important how it sounds.
I wanted to stop to check it out, make sure that it's looking good before I do the whole thing and then don't like it, but I do like it. Looking pretty good. Let's take off a little bit of that residue. And my angle is pretty much straight on. I'm almost perpendicular to the metal. All right, let's weld it. It's a little hot. I'm getting it a little too hot. I gotta move a little faster maybe. Oh, I must have broke the circuit. What I think I want to do to try to make my travel speed a little faster is I'm going to turn up my wire feed speed. It was at 262. I'm going to go to about 285. And then that might allow me to move a little bit faster. And the other thing I haven't discussed at all is safety. When you weld stainless steel, you do need good ventilation because of the gases that it gives off. It's really bad for you. So make sure you're ventilated, but not so much that it's moving your shielding gas away from where you're welding, but you do need ventilation. Like I can already smell it in here. I'm gonna do one more weld and then I have to open up my garage because it's gonna get bad for me. So, oh, that was good. That just flashed my eyes. I've got it at 285 on my wire feed speed. Let's see how it goes. That weld looks really good. Really good. I like that. But I can smell it. I gotta open this place up. So let's finish this. Actually, I need to move this chill bar over to this section where I'm about to start welding. Ooh, that chill bar is quite hot. So it is definitely doing its job. All right, here's that first weld. It's in sections that I did it. You saw me stopping. And then the last couple. You see a little bit of discoloration here on the metal. That's from the heat, obviously. It'd be nice to go in one long stringer or one long bead, but it's too long and I don't want to heat the metal that much. And as you can see, I had to open it up. The fumes were getting unbearable in here. It was probably really unhealthy for me to be around those fumes. So be sure you ventilate. And one other thing, the reason I have this so clamped up, you know, I have something in here that's 2 inches clamped on it. I got all these clamps. Like I said, like I mentioned before, when you weld stainless, it moves a lot. So clamp it down so that it can't move and do tacks to kind of hold it in place. But that's why I have so many clamps. Anyways, this is the little piece that's going to hold the Mantis anchor stop. I'll probably end up cutting off that little section right there. It was just a piece of scrap that I had, but I'm going to weld that one. Those welds are getting a little better. Looking nice. No discoloration. Well, not much anyway. Okay, it's looking like this is gonna be the last weld, and this looks like my microphone. What's going on? Ah. Last weld for now, and then we'll do some grinding, cleanup, buffing, then we'll be done. I cut off that little weird part, so now I'll kind of round these edges. This is where it gets interesting. You take this stuff after you've gone through all your grits of your different burnishing for the polish, and you take your buffing compound and just get it all over there. The more the better, and I'll probably come back once it gets hot. It's easier to put more on when you rub it. So yeah, covered the whole thing. And then I also put some on my pad. All right, so we are here at the dock, and I have just put it on. It is definitely, it's not mounted or anything, it's still loose. But I just set it on there, and it seems to fit nice. And the fitment over there looks nice too. So we'll get it all secured and get the anchor installed. By the way, yeah, there's quite a bit of debris right here. And then when I got here, this whole entire log was next to my boat. It's, you know, it's like 12 inches almost, but it was down there. I pulled it out so it doesn't make its way back out to sea and kill somebody. But that was a little odd. Okay, the other thing I want to talk a little bit about, because I've recorded a bunch of footage and I haven't edited it, and but my ground tackle and my anchor setup, it's pretty heavy duty for this size boat. I'm pretty sure this is probably something that would work on more of like a 40-foot boat or maybe even bigger. But what I have is a 45-pound Mantis M1 anchor, and then I have a custom bow roller that I fabricated myself and welded, and it goes around that stanchion there, and it goes all the way back to the anchor locker so that my chain hopefully doesn't rub on my deck, even though I need to do paint obviously. But and then I have the, I don't know what you call this, it's I guess an anchor stop, and I fabricated the bow roller so that I could mount that anchor stop on there, and it will come up nice and snug and hold it, keep it from hitting the hull there. But yeah, that's what I've got. 45-pound Mantis anchor with, anyways, 100 feet of 5/16 BBB chain, and then 200 and some odd feet, I think it's like 230 or 210 of, I think this is 9/16 or 5/8, probably 5/8 triple braid nylon rode. Okay, that's how I built my bow roller out of 3/16 stainless steel. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you at the next one. Take it easy.